Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for Game 4 of Clutch versus Counter Logic Gaming. And at this point, I'm just willing to say that anything can happen.
It can, including reverse sweeps or not reverse sweeps. And typically, if reverse sweeps are stopped, they're stopped here in Game 4. You'll see a team have a slight misstep and then secure things in Game 4, whereas if they lose Games 3 and 4, usually the momentum carries through to the 5th game. So this is of utmost importance for Clutch Gaming. The good news for them is that they are on blue side, which is their preferred side here. The last time they had this situation was in Game 2, where they actually put all 5 of their bans towards PowerOfEvil. First phase was Azir, Corki, and Ahri. I don't expect them to actually change anything here. The bigger question will be if CLG drops yet another ban and tries to fit a Skarner ban into their red side banning.
Well, Corki, Azir, Yuumi, Rumble, right now the first 4 bans. Not super surprised to see this so far, but it is, as you mentioned, that final ban that CLG can maybe tweak. There's actually the Nocturne ban from Clutch.
Yeah, the Ahri ban was a bit of a throwaway for them last game, and they clearly struggled against the Nocturne, sometimes going into corridors, which, as the analyst desk mentioned, made it even worse for your vision because you can't see over any of those. And with the Akali ban, it sets up a fairly easy Skarner first pick if that's what Clutch wants to go for.
Yep, we didn't touch on it much either, though the desk did. There is Skarner first pick, as you mentioned, but I think Nocturne also just made Huni's life impossible in a side lane. Like, he wants to be aggressive and taking 1v1, and he just can't with Wiggily able to ulti him. So I think this does open up some nice space for Clutch, but CLG, Xayah and Gangplank pretty much instantly.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really smart for CLG based on how this series has gone. Ruin got really outplayed in laning phases Gangplank last game, and it didn't matter at the end of the day. Whereas when he got outplayed as Jace, he could never match in the side lanes and had no influence on the game overall. And then also Xayah blocking Xayah Rakan, even though that's not what teams go for. Again, we're going to see Kaiser Rakan and maybe Xayah Alistar. It's what CLG did in Game 2. I would like to see Xayah Thresh, but Xayah Alistar would make sense too, because that's what they've done before.
Well, they're at least hovering it here. We'll see if CLG have something else in mind, but sounds like no. And I think we've learned obviously a lot about these teams throughout the last few weeks as they've played a lot of games against each other. But even throughout the series, I feel like we're landing at a very obvious point. Almost anyone, I think, would look at the first 2 games and be like, I bet these 6 picks will happen. And you're probably going to be right most of the time.
Yeah, these are identical picks to what we saw the last time Clutch Gaming was on blue side. The differences, though, would come in here because the solo lanes for Clutch were Sylas Aurelia, and the Sylas being banned, I think, is smart. You don't want to give the GP and Alistar ultimates over to Damonte, but expect mid lane bans to continue to come through for Clutch here, although they won't be able to deny PoE both Victor and Orianna, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see if he just picks one of those.
CLG thinking pretty hard on this final ban here as well. Time ticks down. They do decide on Aurelia, so good call there, Jack.
Making sure both solo lanes are different for Clutch Gaming. Clutch Gaming hasn't shown success on that wide of a variety of solo laners, and it completely changes the way their team composition has to play out. At this point, it almost feels like Clutch will go with Gnar for Huni, and I'm not quite sure what it is for Damonte. If he has an opportunity to counterpick, that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, I imagine CLG will show a jungler here, though, is actually LeBlanc. Gets the respect here and spanned away from PowerOfEvil, so keeping more of the proactive playmaker champions out of the hands. Not that control mages can't make plays, but they're a bit more aggressive on the PowerOfEvil side of the champion pool, so it's going to take that stuff out. And we'll see what CLG want to pick up here. Pretty easy shot at whatever jungler they're after, unless there's something very particular they have lined up. And maybe is Syndra there for PowerOfEvil, another comfort champion.
Yeah, I'm a little confused with Clutch's phase 2 bans. I feel like with the Ahri and LeBlanc, they just didn't have enough bans left to actually get PowerOfEvil completely removed of choice, whereas CLG hadn't picked their jungler yet, and they could have easily denied Sejuani Jarvan, but now we're going to get to see the Qiyana, and it is back for Clutch Gaming. It's something that we've basically forgotten about because it has gone through, but this was one of their best picks throughout the regular season.
And Huni maybe going to show us a different pick as well. This is another Gangplank. Oh, against Gangplank, positive matchup in general. We've seen a lot of different players like the Vlad into the GP. But of course, we'll give them their time to tick down, and so they are going to be swapping it up. It is Aatrox. They're in the top lane, I assume.
Yeah, so they can do this because they get some magic damage out of Kaisa, but it does allow at least a small amount of armor stacking to come through from CLG.
Hey.
And look, Sejuani, if they want, which they probably do, cycles everything.
I like the Rammus idea. It's like, oh, they have a lot of AD. Let me take this champion. But we'll see what Counter Logic Gaming want to settle on here. Ooh, I actually kind of like the change up. Elise here for Wiggily.
Yeah, more early game, and importantly, a huge amount of mid lane gank threat with Syndra Elise to try and punish Damonte pre-6 before Skarner can give him assistance.
Well, Qiyana can be pretty slippery, but we'll see what Damonte can get done here. CLG, I feel like they've started to, again, we talk about them certainly being a slow starting team, and that has been true here in this series, but even in just in play, each game that goes by, you can notice CLG playing, you know, a bit more actively, a little bit quicker as they kind of learn the ins and outs of their opponents. So now that's actually going to be reflected in the draft, as they do have Elise now for Wiggily.
Yeah, and why not be confident for CLG? I actually walked past PoE in the hallway between these games. He says, "You ready for the reverse sweep?" I then asked him why they had to lose 2 games first before sweeping.
What did he say?
That was the end of the conversation.
Okay. No good answer.
Yeah, he said, we joked about viewership. It was interesting. But overall, CLG is riding high in confidence because they have reverse sweep Clutch Gaming before.
And Clutch, of course, trying to put a stop to it right now. As you mentioned, Jay, and I think that is a cool thing to think about. If they're stopped, it's usually stopped here, because it is tough to be the one getting reverse swept mentally.
Yeah.
And Clutch have shown that when their players are confident, everyone's playing on point, they are deadly. But when the opposite is true, it falls apart real quickly like a soggy biscuit. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Clutch can kind of undo the history that's already been shown. But only one way to find out, chat. Let's play some League of Legends.
To get into Game 4, pace your time, and wonder if we're going to see early game jungle shenanigans. Lira again getting onto that Skarner, but the rest of the composition, I would say not as favorable. However, that's just based off the complexion of the series, because if you asked me before the series, hey, what happens if they get Rumble or Qiyana? You're like, Clutch probably feels pretty good about that draft. And here, they have Qiyana.
Usually Rumble and Qiyana is the combination, but Damonte's still very competent on this champion, so curious to see how that plays out.
That's why the Vladimir hover actually made a lot of sense, because you're thinking, okay, physical damage, assassin engager with the Vladimir flank. That is a little low on CC. If CLG was able to run away or disengage on that, instead they go for a bit more lane dominance. So not the most late game damage. All of it really has to come from Cody Sun.
Well, an invade, potentially, at least for some vision, is being looked at here by Clutch Gaming, as Huni and Lira did peek into the jungle. Cody also going to claim at the Spire for themselves. Already award there by CLG in the tribal. Hello. Huni and Ruin doing battle.
Yeah. You can't really deal with a Grasp GP if he gets the jump on you, so Huni takes a little bit of damage. Note the Electrocute on Aatrox, going for some shorter trades.
And Blue started up here, but kind of looked like they wanted to at least get some info, but information they have gotten. Wiggily going to be left alone on the buff, and things will start out pretty normally here.
Yep, Lira doesn't need the pull on Skarner. He can start on Raptors fairly easily as the Skarner.
Onto red, and I imagine he'll full clear that side as Wiggily. Going to diverge Blue straight over to the other side for him, so not interested in Gromp or Wolves right now. Certainly going to keep track of mid lane here. Damonte has had a decent series so far, but a quieter one for him. This is a champion where he must make noise on.
He has a bit of time, really. Look for the level 6 for Damonte, but if he dies before then and never gets to level 6 first, it could be difficult to come back, especially since PoE has gone exhaust on Syndra.
Don't see that too often, but always good against all-in assassin types, which of course Qiyana is. And looks like Cody and Vulcan going to have the early go of the push. Again, Alistar, not a whole lot of presence he can offer. So Stixxay and Biofrost will just be left to farm things up, but I feel like that's been the state of most of these 2v2 lanes, with the exception of game 1. So I don't think either team is too upset by the possibility of farming things out, as Damonte struggling here versus Syndra.
Yeah, and I think Syndra should be good in Qiyana and is good in Qiyana in 1v1s. It's when you get to the 2v2s where the gank assist that Qiyana can supply is threatening enough to stop the Syndra from harassing, but knowing that there is a jungle Skarner on the other side who won't have Predator boots early on in the lane, PoE should be playing as aggressively as possible against Damonte, and he is.
He's also precision secondary, if I'm looking at that right, so it doesn't even have a bit of extra help from Time Out Tonic or some biscuits. So taking a lot more poke, Damonte though, I'm sure knows how to navigate this lane, does go invis, Electrocute gonna proc though for PoE, and looks like Damonte may be forced back early.
Yeah, he wants to stick around for this wave, but if Wiggily loops around, this could be a mid lane dive. PoE would have enough mana to stun, and Damonte would have to make an escape. They're thinking about it, but Lira is here to defend.
Nice read here from Lira. Stun gonna land. Wiggily looks for the cocoon, does not get it.
Somehow the stun didn't land on Damonte. It looked like the orb was just a little bit too far down the lane. If that stun does land, Wiggily likely lands the cocoon and maybe can go in for the execute and repelling out. But since Lira was there, kept him alive, still means the lane is heavily going in COD's favor.
And Damonte finally forced to go all the way back to the fountain. Lira is here to kind of scoop up what CS he can and make sure the XP and gold doesn't go to waste. Huni, in the meantime, battling Ruin here in the top lane. But like you said, Gangplank able to split most lanes.
Yeah, with Grasp and the potions early, it's incredibly hard to push him out of lane. As the Aatrox, once again without gank assist, and since Lira's on the Skarner, you like to see CLG actually trying to take advantage of the first 6 levels of the Skarner, which is something they haven't done in previous games.
Yep, certainly seen Wiggily been on just farm to 6 style junglers, has been very passive in the early games of the first 3.
Yeah, and here he's gotten both Scuttle Crabs. He's attempted to dive mid. He hasn't gotten a kill, but he is trying to gain some advantage for his team.
Battle continues there. Wiggily goes back with the Chilling Smite now ready. Dips back to get a control ward, I believe, and now back out onto the Rift to maybe look for a second go at one of these lanes. Damonte also has found time to go get boots. No mech treads just yet. In fact, having a look down here, but just going to ward the Drake, it looks like. Oh wow, no, maybe not.
Yeah. He was hoping for a wraparound, but he's still kind of trapped in the Drake pit. They see him now.
Yeah, they still go anyway, but now Damonte is going to be
flash
spotted.
Engage. Okay. Yeah, Damonte would have been able to flash EQ and get a guaranteed route onto Stixxay, but kind of didn't think that would get a kill anyways. Also could have been headbutted away by the Alistar, so goes back to this very painful mid lane as PoE is pushing his advantage quite well.
Yeah, and you can see 20 CS up now for PoE. Damonte will get what he can. Q's there from Qiyana doing a decent job of getting a lot of that farm, but he's just consistently getting harassed, even though PoE isn't necessarily landing these stuns. And not enough AD, in fact, no extra AD at all for Damonte to get these waves done easier. So this is a tough time right now for Qiyana.
Yeah, had to go null magic based off of the harass PoE was putting down on. Probably wants to work towards Merc Treads, but now you can see without those AD breakpoints, the last hitting does become a little more difficult.
All right, well, back down in bottom lane. Looks like both bot laners have taken a trip back. Cody already used his TP actually to join in early, and he's got those Mana Mune pieces already built up with the pickaxe and the Sapphire Crystal. Stixxay has found enough time to save for a BF, and that's what he's got. As Wiggily and maybe even Biofrost can look to roam around the map together. Certainly can be a potent combination, as Wiggily is at least continuing to stay proactive here.
Yeah, and he knows Damonte is 6 here, which is where Damonte would try and get back into the game, so that's why he's kind of shadowing for PoE. The last thing they want is for all of this early lane pressure to not pay off at all for CLG if Skarner's able to come in and gank, and that's actually what they're hoping to go for. If they can get PoE to use his E, that's when Skarner goes in.
Let's use it. Here comes Lira. He's trying to bait a flash. Lands the E, gets it!
Ever.
And there's Damonte with his pre-display of talent into the wall. That's going to be first blood, baby. PoE finds the ult. He gets first blood himself. But Qiyana does finish off the kill. Still Wiggily is going to try and make it turn around. No flash here for Damonte. Wiggily going to rappel down. Auto, no, goes to the range form, and that's the cue for the final hit.
So many small things in that fight. They got the E out of PoE, but remember, no extra AD on Damonte, so this is lower damage than he's used to. He's almost always going to have a serrated jerk at this point in the game. Then the exhaust comes down, I think, before the damage is applied from the Qiyana R, again reducing the damage. And then because they took a turret shot, Wiggily is able to just bite Damonte down and picks up the 2-for-1 in the favor of CLG.
Not that I think it would have mattered, but I wonder if Damonte missed the brush there. He didn't have that much mana, so I don't even know if he could have cast Q, but you could try and buy some time in stealth. Regardless, a kill there for Wiggily as a result. Huni gonna pop World Ender there in top lane.
Wow. Very early World Ender as he saw Wiggily on a ward, thinking that the gank was imminent. So, 1,000 early gold lead by CLG in Game 4 after being down 2-0 in the series. And this is more of a CLG game with mid priority and a strong bot lane. However, if this Ocean Drake goes over to Clutch Gaming, that's something CLG doesn't like giving up. Notice Huni actually roaming down for it as well.
I like this look from Clutch Gaming. Biofrost gonna get the bad news late. And Clutch secure the early Ocean. Biofrost even on a ward. Imagine he's just faking this recall. Vulcan's like, get out. Yep. Biofrost, if you didn't know already, now knows that there's a ward there. But again, not too much happening here in the bottom lane. Both just doing a good job farming up. Huni, in the meantime, it's kind of the first time we've really seen that he hasn't been able to find a personal lead in the 1v1. I
mean, he's also down 300 gold just because of Gangplank and Kleptomancy. It's Ninja Tabi versus Ninja Tabi Sheen. And half a TP on Gangplank. So it's looking pretty rough for Clutch Gaming there. They need to find their confidence again and actually make some of these plays work. But I do like how much CLG is throwing towards mid lane, knowing that in the 1v1, Syndra will win this matchup. So it's only when Clutch gets numbers advantages can they win. So therefore, CLG's just not letting it happen.
Well, ulti out. There's Vulcan, gets knocked back. Didn't use the quickness, so I think was just trying to help Damonte out with some shields. But it is nice to see both supports getting a lot more proactive. And oh, of course, it's 10 minutes. I forgot the Rift Herald was coming up.
Yeah, the 80 carries didn't. However, this is where Huni's trying to take advantage of his teleport advantage. So this is where CLG is actually the ones that need to start Rift Herald, and then it's Clutch to slow play it while Huni tries to get map advantage here. It is a way for them to kind of sneak back in the game. Now that Ruin matches, then means Clutch Gaming can go for the Rift Herald, because then Ruin would only be able to assist with his GP ultimate. I love this map play by Clutch, sending Huni down knowing he had a TP advantage.
Yeah, and TP might look close there for Ruin, but still a little under 2 minutes, which is not going to be enough time to contest with the Herald as Clutch are going to start it up. So a smart cross-map play, showing that they have evolved their their tendencies for the Herald, but how they approach it.
You don't have to send everyone to Herald all the time. You can use teleport. But now, we still could see a fight. GP ultimate is like half a champion in the early game, so if CLG wants to risk it, they can go for it.
Yep. Ruin actually roaming up. Huni already TP. No, he didn't. Can't see him. He's well entering up. There he is, right at the PowerOfEvil. Lost him for a moment there, but Damonte looking for the stun. Doesn't quite land it, but the quickness in onto Wiggily is going to give Damonte that kill. Cody going to get exhausted. Is looking straight for PowerOfEvil. Doesn't grab it, and that's a kill there for Clutch.
Yeah, that's what all the pressure pays off into, was a kill and the Rift Herald for Lira. So kind of keeping them up in this game, and if they use it before 14 minutes, that plate gold will likely just equal the game.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like this kind of keeps happening where they're so consistently starting fights for the Herald that we forget to see who it's picked up. But Lira, I'm pretty sure, is just like, yep, just gonna quickly take the Herald while everything else is happening.
We were watching the fight over to the side, and I'm like, I heard a Rift Herald recall. I wonder who. Oh, of course, the jungler.
So Lira able to grab that. As you mentioned, 2 minutes or just thereabouts for some plates to be collected. Vulcan here behind Cody. Biofrost threatening a dive. He's trying to posture so Stixxay can get some plate money of his own. And here comes Wiggily, spotting that ward up towards that potential dive, as Damonte also out and about in the river.
Yeah, Damonte has his Ignite and ultimate up again, knowing the PoE used his exhaust in the last fight if they are timing summoners. Means they could go for this kill again. There could be a little gun shy though, because it backfired on them last time.
PoE has Zhonya's actually now finished. So I wonder if Damonte feels like he needs to pick a different target. That's a Rift Herald. I thought it was a Hex Flash. But Lira just going to drop the Herald over the top and give Huni some of that plate gold.
Yeah, Huni would... You actually want to get the first plate down before the charge, because then the Herald does true damage, so the added armor and MR that the turret gets from losing plates doesn't matter. Small little thing, but it looks like they still get 3 plates nonetheless.
Yep. Huni doing a good job. Ruin does what he can, knows that he can't really contest once the Herald has charged. And still a minute left to maybe collect a few more, but I think that's about all we're going to get this time for Huni. Very different from the...
So they don't... Okay, Vulcan sees Biofrost. Biofrost does not see Vulcan. Mix of information, and they're actually teleporting in for Wiggily.
Flash into the TP! Hello, it's Huni! Wiggily gonna have to run back towards the tower. Good Zhonya's, here's Ruin. Not sure they can do much else. Impale just to make extra sure.
Hit him.
Oh, well, Repel, you gotta hit him! Huni was busy, but now he's finally gonna get the kill. Looking to squash that spider. Is Ruin gonna be the next one to be chased down? Biofrost here to run interference, but Damonte maybe gonna look for the combo. Will force out the ultimate from Alistar.
Could be a first turret race after this as well. Stixxay's got about a plate and a half left here on the top lane, whereas Huni would like to get that bottom lane, but is spending time zoning off Ruin. Huni should win by a little bit, especially because Vulcan's coming up to threaten Stixxay. Yeah. Well done by Clutch.
Cody here as well. So Stixxay, I mean, yes, he can fight the Rakan. Rakan doesn't have ulti, but 2v1, not much of a chance there for Stixxay, despite having his SSU finish. So Huni will collect, I think, all the plates as well. It would have been close,
yeah,
but at least gets the first turret gold for himself as Lira just casually strolls in to take the second ocean.
Yeah, and Clutch have found a way to fight back in this game 4, since they did have the lost 2v2 in the early game. And a lot of times in a Qiyana versus Syndra matchup, that mid lane pressure can just spill out through the rest of the game and you can never recover. But they've done 2 smart things. They use their teleport advantage bottom lane to get an advantageous fight at the Rift Herald. And again, they used Huni's teleport advantage to get a kill onto Wiggily while Wiggily was checking River. So they're making map plays. They've controlled the objectives well. Rift Herald, both Drakes and first turret, and that's what's keeping them in the game.
Vulcan again has to protect Cody, but this dive may just be forced. Can't see the rest of the clutch. Biofrost looks for it. Gets the flash out of Wiggily. Here comes Damonte. Gets one into the wall. Finds a follow-up stun. And CLG, a misguided attempt there as they roam blind from the jungle, but they will snipe Damonte, who does flash as well. CLG now on their own counter-attack as they look to try and take out Vulcan. Over the wall he goes, and the rest of Clutch are safe.
And look at that. CLG actually has all 5 members to the top side, but they lose the fight 2 for 1. Huni was just walking up the bottom lane when that fight started, so Clutch Gaming able to get in and get out in a numbers disadvantage.
Well, Clutch continue to pick some of the pieces up here in top lane as Cody will finish off the rest of this wave. Ruin will make it back safely. And now has his Trinity Force completed. A very different timing than the last game, but let's watch this again. I mean, Wiggily and Bio maybe just don't expect this to happen so quickly.
Yeah, and this is more of Damonte's comfort zone where he's the one initiating the plays and looking for fights. He gets the kill onto the altless Alistar. Does take a lot of return damage because the GP ult and TP both come in to try and return. And then it's just about Clutch Gaming running away after they get the 2 kills.
Huni. Ooh, nice sweet spot there on the Ruin. Gonna make it all 3, just demolishes that health. But you can see Biofrost though, Huni gonna pop his own ulti. Afraid of potential retribution from what we know to be the alley roaming in. In fact, he cleared out a ward, so Huni knows as well.
Ooh, and I just noticed there's no healing reduction anywhere for CLG if we're thinking about mid-game team fights. Aatrox, I feel like hits his strongest point at 2 items, Black Cleaver +1.
Zhonya's used. Yep, just one route. No real extra follow-up there for Clutch with the, Vulcan not having his ultimate and Damonte not having his either. So they'll get that. I mean, maybe if the ultis come back out, they can think of diving PoE. Huni in the bot side looking for a solo kill in the meantime. Lira going to try and make it happen.
Yeah.
Looks to finish it off, but Huni gets the flash himself.
That's going to get pretty rough. I think Ruin needs to build healing reduction immediately because then he can easily apply to Huni in team fights. Not only in the 1v1 would it be helpful, but in team fights. If Huni doesn't have any healing reduced, I've seen plenty of Aatrox's 1v3 the backline, much like he did in his Aurelia games.
Well, Ruin, he's just dead. Huni looking for it, does get it, gets out as well.
Huni's on top of this. I mean, he had that Lucian game that went awry, trying to win it back with Aatrox. That is a ton of map pressure, and he has the double ocean on top of the insane in-combat healing, so that Aatrox is just going to be living at full health pretty much everywhere he goes.
And unlike the last game, it really doesn't feel like CLG have an obvious way to attack Huni once he's in the side lane. So Aatrox taking over, takes the tier 2 turret. Let's watch this half of the solo kill.
Rune already flashless from the last time. Once you land Q1 on Aatrox, if you pull off your combo just right, you can close it out because he lands the W, gets Q2 that keeps him in the W, and then gets him to the Q3. So just perfect execution on the Aatrox by Huni.
Also like that we have seen Lira shadowing him as well. I think knows that he has so much strength and is likely playing back with maybe, I guess he had confidence the whole series, but is still feeling it as a player right now. Looking to take over Death's Dance. I am starting to see some of the similarities you pointed out there, Jet. Huni looking to take over.
And that longsword is a few gold away from being able to be an Executioner's Calling. Let's hope that's the direction Rune is going. And it's also because PowerOfEvil started Zhonya's. So normally the Syndra would be able to pick up healing reduction with Zhonya's into Morellonomicon, but because he had to rush Zhonya's, he then builds his mana item second, delaying the Morellos.
Huni just sweeping out the vision, taking the Grom. Really taking over despite the gold lead being very close. It is not equal in Huni land right now. Clutch up about 1,000 gold, but CLG is still trying to punch through this mid lane tower. Stixxay has a decent amount of personal power, but CLG needs to play together and try and find a fight without messing things up.
Yeah, this is where the game could be broken open for Clutch if CLG tries too hard to contest this. The river is where Qiyana wants to fight most. Although an early Predator burned by Lira means they're really just zoning towards getting the Mountain Drake.
Clutch are going to start the Mountain Drake. CLG maybe just fancying a trade here for the mid lane outer tower. Biofrost just playing guard. Does see Damonte.
It's their best option, really, especially if they can get the turret. That would be a huge win for CLG.
Yeah, they do get it. The Mountain over to spot, but it is traded to that mid lane outer tower. Again, this game is very tense. Cannot undersell the stakes of this best of 5. For Clutch, it's not only a bit of revenge and some redemption versus CLG, it's one series away from a shot at Worlds.
Yeah, winner of this will play TSM tomorrow, who are considered by many to be underdogs in the series. So even though they have the most championship points throughout the year, which puts them as the final boss of the regional qualifier, TSM slumped towards the end of Summer Split, lost convincingly to Clutch Gaming in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, and then have really just been preparing for that moment since then. So either Clutch or CLG will go into that regional qualifier final as the favorite to be the 3rd seed for North America at Worlds, meaning this series is just all the more important. And Clutch Gaming, as we mentioned before, won the first 2 games convincingly, much like they did in Detroit for the 3rd place match, and are trying to pull things together to win in a 3-1 fashion.
Not enough. PowerOfEvil burns the ulti there on Damonte, but he had zombies as well, and had clearly calculated that that was unlikely to kill him.
Yeah.
Does keep the Qiyana away though. Damonte is moving in towards that mana item as you mentioned, and I do have good news for you, Jat. That longsword has in fact turned into an Executioner's Calling there.
Yay! He understands that it's needed. Won't keep him alive, but it will definitely help them take down Huni in team fights.
Oh, they're going for it.
Here we go.
Speaking of Huni, Biofrost in there, looking for the ulti, doesn't quite get it. Oh goodness, into the backline. Goes the rest of Clutch. Huni's still alive. Wiggily
didn't work.
Cut! And Vulcan gets the kill of all people.
Oh, and I thought maybe Clutch could go for more because Damonte did have all of CLG up against a wall. Decided not to go for it. You could see Clutch was calling the retreat. Man, they dumped so much onto Huni, still unable to take him down. Oh, can we get Vulcan?
Well, no ulti, so no luck there for PowerOfEvil. Vulcan does get away. CLG only lose 1, again, keeping the gold close between the 2, but Huni is starting to widen the gap for himself and for his team.
Yeah, Huni at the turret gets caught by a cocoon, and CLG says, all right, everybody into Huni. Biofrost sees a look, but doesn't actually get any CC onto Huni, so they're unable to get all of their damage through to him, and it ends up just being Wiggily who overcommits into Cody Sun and Huni.
Pays for it with his life. There's the blue buff.
Oh,
got stolen. Huni
we've seen
again.
this before. I think they got him.
1v4. Huni does have his flash, but he gets rooted in place by Stixxay and shut down by the same.
Actually, a very big mistake by Huni right there, knowing they have the double ocean, knowing they have the split push pressure up where he can't beat. Clutch can't do anything with that commitment by CLG. There's no Drakes up. It's too early for them to force Baron. They can't even get the top turret. So it's just CLG who gets to make an offensive play here after killing Huni.
They'll look to take this tier 2 in mid, and they will get it very quickly. No one from Clutch really there in time to respond as Damonte gets himself a Dark Sphere to the face. They're trying to sneak in and maybe look for an angle for the ulti. CLG still bunched around Baron.
Yeah, Huni has teleport in 7 seconds, so if CLG actually goes in too hard here, there is a ward behind CLG that Huni could try and teleport in on if Clutch really wants to fight. Here comes the teleport. Can they catch him?
CLG, I think they've just seen it now, but that's a big stop for Lira as Huni gets the knock up as well. Clutch going in for it. Damonte already took down Wiggily. Do not fight Qiyana in the jungle as Clutch explode for the fight as Damonte is going to clean up Stixxay, and Huni barely going to be left alive. Ruin will shut him down with the ulti, but that cost them so much.
We'll see if that Ruin ulti is enough because Clutch would want to take Baron here. Cody Sun, the main DPS, Mountain Drake Kai'Sa takes it very quickly, but still 3 people alive for CLG. This could be a series-defining Baron.
Didn't get another carry. I think that would give Clutch more confidence. Maybe going to turn for a fight. Have to dodge the Syndra Stones. Biofrost in. Very aggressive, but again, they're just trying to poke them here. Lira taking quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, no smite for CLG, so if Clutch wants to try and burn it, they could. They just have to worry about dying.
Yeah, and again, dancing back and forth, trying to use the motion. Oh. They're pulling off. They do not want to take the risk.
Such a clutch hold there by CLG to stop them from taking Baron. Watching this again, though, CLG didn't realize there were wards behind them. So they were just trying to get Baron control, and Clutch pounced at exactly the right moment. Qiyana going over the wall with the big initiation, but I felt like that fight was really all about Huni. Level 15 with his ultimate coming in. CLG unable to burst him down, but CLG disperse enough to only lose their AD carry and their jungler, which gives them enough tools to at least delay Clutch. I think if Clutch watches that back, they may have wished that they just burned the Baron, because there wasn't a real chance of a steal, and then they would have it.
Oh, wow.
Not, and now Vulcan
stunned. That should be a kill. Enough damage is there. Stixxay gets the last feather in.
And it was before Huni was ready for the flank. Huni wants to fight this, but now they have to pull off and CLG get another objective.
Second mountain would have been nice for Clutch, but it is CLG that will claim that Drake. And now the Baron threat is stepping up. Mountain is so important when trying to burn down big objectives, and Clutch could have had to. Instead, they split the difference.
Yeah, now either team can threaten Baron with roughly the same speed.
Damonte. PowerOfEvil is the target, but exhaust nicely timed for PoE. Damonte not able to assassinate the Syndra.
I feel like we should see more exhaust into Qiyana. You don't see it into Akali because Akali can space her damage out so much, but against almost all other assassins, when you do see them played mid lane, it's an incredibly effective tool to shutting them down. And you can see PoE avoiding most assassinations by Damonte because of the exhaust.
Huni dancing around. Ooh, that barrel auto. Very nicely weaved in there. Huni does not fall. CLG, though, still proactively hunting for any stray members of Clutch Gaming. Know that if they can get one pick, maybe turn it into something else, that at least the threat of the Baron is enough to draw the rest in and then open up the game for themselves. This game is delicately balanced on what feels like this first Baron.
Yeah, and also because the Mountain Drake exists for both teams, not only is it faster Baron, it's faster base destruction. So the winner of the fight could take so much gold that they would become unstoppable in the rest of the game. And if that is Clutch, that means the series is over. CLG's season would end. So the tension that builds in these moments is just higher and higher. CLG has to be so careful about checking into the river because of the Qiyana and the Aatrox flanks that have caught them a few times already, but they can't let that stop them from looking for fights. CLG has so many initiation tools. Syndra, Elise, Alistar, they need to be looking for fights, but they just can't go in the river safely, so it's so difficult for CLG to find success.
Ruin forced to rotate back around to the rest of his team. CLG don't want to be split up for too long. That does give Huni, who has no TP, a little bit more room to shove down this lane.
With no TP though, CLG should have timed that off through the last fight. They can at least get a lot of vision control.
And they do in fact take hold.
At best they could just start it. I mean, there's no scryers available for Clutch, but both teams a little hesitant to all in on Baron. They don't want to be the team that throws at Baron.
Yeah, they know the tension of the situation. Biofrost going to be the target. Uses his ultimate, now going to get pulled back by the Impale. Biofrost is going to fall to Damonte, but Huni, I think he went in too close. He's going to die to Stixxay. CLG trying to fight it out. Stixxay about to get killed. Lira able to find the last Crystallize to get that kill, but Ruin chunks down Cody. They get the kill. Wiggily able to find the assassination, and now Damonte trying to dance his way out of there, but he's left for dead as well. Will not get an exit kill. Ruin able to find the shutdown.
Such a close fight right there. 3-2 for Clutch Gaming. You could see Damonte held on to his ultimate all the way till the end, but then couldn't find the execute. He went for GP, but watching the start of the fight, it was CLG checking River, and immediately Clutch trying to close in on. Huni had ran all the way down from the top lane, and they kill Bio, and they see wanting to finish off this fight. Because Huni ticks out, it gets so close. So Stixxay being down, you now have to watch Cody Sun. If he doesn't get hit by that cocoon, Clutch probably wins the fight and takes Baron, but Wiggily so clutch. Not only does he cocoon him, he is able to repel the Qiyana ultimate on the wall. Very difficult skill shot to see in these chaotic situations, especially when he's on the other side. So really big shout out to Wiggily for not only landing that cocoon, but also repelling the damage.
Hit the first one too that smacked Huni and got him killed. So Wiggily stepping up to the plate. One of the newest members of CLG, and certainly as far as professional league experience goes, is the youngest in that regard on Counter Logic Gaming. So we kind of thought after those first few games he's playing a little too passively for a team that's looking to take it to another best of 5 versus TSM. But on the Elise now, feeling a bit more comfortable perhaps on the stage, starting to step into his role here as the player that he has shown he can be throughout the season for CLG.
And you don't need to be having a great series to make a big play. You don't need to be having a great game to make a big play. And with at 3-5, it's not like Wiggily has been playing immaculately, but even if we think back to the playoff series that CLG has played, when they're against Optic and he was on Rek'Sai, finding fight after fight to prevent CLG from losing those games, you can untilt at any moment and still make a big play, and I think we saw that from Wiggily in that fight.
Again, the mental back and forth between these two teams, especially if we kick it to a 5th, something we'll have to consider, but still game balanced oh so delicately. 700 gold, not even between the two sides, and they're constantly looking for fights here. There's an Infernal Drake up in 5 seconds that will continue to spur teams to action around these objectives.
Yeah, and you have to be so testy with this Infernal Drake, because if you overcommit, the other team can run to Baron knowing they both have Mountain Drakes. But COD actually gets mid lane priority, which allows them to take the Spire away from Lira, and they are the ones that can start up this Infernal Drake. And Clutch actually gives it up, and since it's so quick, they can't get Baron either. If anything, they'd hope for a fight here in the river, and CLG needs to smartly not get caught.
CLG, I think, no, they can take some time. Clutch is going to start the Baron, though.
So the whole series, Clutch has been very hesitant to all in the Baron, hoping that CLG is hesitant to check. It's low.
Look at Damonte, well, could maybe find the flank. The Baron is solo. Ruin finally used the ulti. That's the spite there for Lira, and Stixxay is going to get jumped up by Damonte, but a double roof in the Featherstorm is going to force Clutch back away. Ruin is chasing in. They do kill Huni. Ruin still looking, gets snared up by Lira, but Cody over the top. I don't really know where Clutch can run. CLG are trying to chase him down, but PowerOfEvil gonna miss that first stun. He flashes over the wall to try and make it happen.
Scatter!
Clutch is trying to get out of there. Cody, I don't think will be so lucky. Tagged by the tower, does have his flash, maybe he's okay. But there's the stun topside onto Lira. He will fall here to PoE, but Cody still trying to run. Finally, tagged by a GP barrel. Interesting trade between the two teams.
Man, such a battle right here. The Baron rush after the Infernal Drake. Didn't think Clutch would have enough time, but CLG had to be so careful about checking, because if they run in head forward without face check, without any vision, Damonte and Huni would have been able to full wipe them. So that's why it was an okay call. Stixxay getting that ultimate off before being executed by Damonte is the reason that CLG was able to win this fight. If he gets one shot, I think Clutch continues to all in. Because he didn't, Clutch actually calls to retreat. Huni down, everyone scatters. It's just about who can get out with the recalls.
And again, Vulcan gets stunned, and you know how the rest of that played out. They got 2 kills. CLG leave Clutch with only 2 Barons, one on Damonte, one on Vulcan, I believe. But a pretty hefty price to pay. Giving up the Infernal, getting the Baron, but losing 3 in the process. I'm going to say even-ish at the end of it all, and the Gold League kind of reflecting that as well.
I think so too, but if we look at the overall team compositions, I feel like COD's win. Because the Gangplank scales better than the Aatrox, and I think the Syndra also scales better than the Qiyana. It doesn't mean that Clutch can't find fights and get good initiations. But in a straight up 5v5, I think CLG wins. And you know what? They also win in 1v3s.
Yep.
But we've seen this story before. The cooldown on that Aatrox is really low. He's going to skate around as long as possible while Clutch take turrets.
Yeah, Clutch are actually just shoving mid lane. PowerOfEvil.
He gets away.
Good flash. He's back to his team. Huni found the escape route.
He can't keep getting away with it pace through time.
Well, he is so far. Gets the tower and gets out. Here we're looking for another stun, but Vulcan dips away as Damonte already. The other one with the Baron buff has prepped this top wave.
Oh man, that Aatrox E down to a 3.5 second cooldown. So unless you have a flank of some kind, or Rammus, you're not catching him.
We could have had Rammus. No. All right, well, Huni gets out. Has to burn his flash, but I think a small price to pay given the situation. Ruin did teleport in to try and make that play happen, but CLG run Huni around, lose their tower in mid. Only 35 seconds left on the Baron for Clutch, so it doesn't seem like CLG will lose anything else or much else after that play, and we'll be back to a very even game. In fact, the gold is dead even as they look back up at the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think CLG has an advantage, but it's a small one, and it's contingent on being able to get vision over this river, which is not an easy task. Biofrost needs to be in the front. They need to see the side laners, and then they can get mid priority towards Elder. If they actually run it through the jungle, it's really dangerous.
Wiggily almost found the stun there. Damonte going back in again. What a massive ulti! Damonte able to take down Wiggily, and Clutch are going to start the fight, but CLG, they're retreating through the corridor. Ruin with a nice GP ultimate to try and cover the escapes. Only one down on CLG.
Wow, I'm very surprised that CLG didn't first push out mid before going towards the river. Instead, they run through the jungle. They only lose Wiggily for it, but that maintains Clutch's control as this Elder Drake gets closer and closer to spawn.
And Stixxay had kind of a quiet one, but one of the stronger components of this composition right now, and he's had a good game for himself. Needs to be awfully careful with all the dive that Clutch can bring upon him. He's got no ult, he's got no flash, he doesn't have a QSS yet either. So Clutch continue to try and look for these plays, try and find picks, but both teams' attempts feel like they're coming up a little short. Again, how tense this game must be at this moment.
It's just so close. CLG has a lot of ways to dodge the initiations. They have the exhaust, and here's another one.
Onto Huni they go! Looks like he popped the plate, but it's actually pretty tanky, all things considered. Lira goes in, PoE finds Huni. CLG may have found a fight they like, but Biofrost taking a little bit too much damage. Ulti there as Cody takes down Bios. Damonte, I think, found the rest of the fight, but now Vulcan dives in. Cody still fighting his way up, but Stixxay takes him down. Almost an ace. Is Lira the only one on Clutch left alive?
Oh, that is so big for CLG. Huni just completely stun locked. He's got Ninja Tabi against Syndra Elise, so he could not move during that fight. CLG get Elder.
Elder away. Lira forced to back off with no health, so no steal forthcoming there. And again, Huni thinks he's fine. He did have Stoneplate. He's actually quite tanky.
Yeah, but 5 seconds of 4 items, 80 carry, shredding you. It's going to take to anyone, because look at Cody. Cody can't go in until someone else engages, so he's not doing anything by the time Huni dies. Then, when Damonte goes in with the Qiyana ultimate, he still only finds one, which is quite surprising considering it seemed like such a close corridor, but the CLG carries were positioned over to the left and unable to go down, and then Stixxay just wins the duel with Cody Sun. One more passive proc. One more passive proc from Xayah. Stixxay probably goes down. That's how close this game is.
And these are two players and champions that can really make things happen in the late game. Stixxay so far looking good, but Cody has been phenomenal in late game team fights all season long, it feels like. So certainly still very close, but I think that CLG edge you talked about, Jat, is starting to creep into this game, and no chance to fight off that Baron. CLG will take it.
I think we're going to game 5, Paige.
It feels like it.
Yeah, unless we see some amazing flank, which is what Clutch is trying to set up with the side lanes being pushed out by Huni and Damonte. CLG has Stixxay at 6 items plus a QSS. They have the Zonias on 2. Damonte really is stuck on 3.5 items. CLG is just going to take at least 1 inhibitor on this Baron.
Huni got to get back real quick. Doesn't go back, actually. The waves aren't in a good spot for CLG to continue this push, so it does seem like they'll have to take time to reset. and push out the other waves, but Ruin already goes back. Huni takes his time to steal the blue buff because he can. But again, if we do go to that 5th game, I think it's important to note that like history has an unbelievable weight. Like it's irrational to be like, well, it happened before, but like
Yeah.
but it can't happen again. But it doesn't feel like that when you're sitting in that spot. All you can think is it cannot happen again.
2-0. That's right where CLG wants you. That's when they can begin your mental destruction.
9 kills away from a Yasuo main. 9
Yeah.
deaths away, sorry.
They got the 3,000 gold lead. This game is still not over. Baron's still up for a little bit. They're going to be able to take down a few more turrets, but you know the way Stixxay's cleaned up, I feel like Ruin getting this Gangplank pick, even if he's falling down 1,000 or 2,000 gold, he's good enough at it in teamfights that it's making a big difference. And then I think CLG's handled this Qiyana pick really well. I imagine they've thought about and talked about how to position around that pick, and Damonte hasn't gone off. Now he wants to try and find a flank. This might be a moment for them to try and get something.
Ulti there from Ruin. They're going to move in and try and take the tower down. They do get it. Ruin is just destroying this inhibitor with Stixxay behind him. Biofrost didn't use his ulti. Clutch might be making a desperate play here.
Okay, COD has to cheat to the right. Otherwise, Damonte can slam everyone up against the left side wall.
Here comes Huni. Biofrost the target. Does get tagged. Gets out though from the chains.
Damonte's a little too far ahead.
Left alive. I think Biofrost is going to buy time here. Yeah, Biofrost knows he's going down. Doesn't even use his ultimate.
So they want to keep chasing. There's no turret. Damonte actually missed a jump over the wall, so he should be in position, but he is not.
Stixxay actually the one in front. Gotta be careful, Damonte.
He's got flash.
He does. Stixxay the target. Huni finds it. Stixxay gonna burn the ulti. Now's the time to go in. Stixxay needs to be the target, but he's moving back towards the team. Not picking up. Vulcan dives back in. And there's the ulti that Clutch have been begging for all game long. Ruin the last one left. Clutch, if they can get the ace, that may just be the game.
It may be the game even without the ace. Look at these minion waves. For some reason, Cody teleported to the bottom lane when they had a wave in the top. That might actually keep the series alive. I don't know what that TP was when they could have just closed it, but there's one fewer turret down here, and everyone's moving while Huni goes back to defend the base.
Oh, the super minions, though. Can they delay Clutch long enough? Ruin tries to clear the wave, doesn't quite get it. Clutch are still going here. Huni, no TP, cannot help his team out right now. But Biofrost doesn't go in. They want it for Ruin. That's the target. Killer Instinct in. Ruin into stasis. Biofrost just trying to buy time. He does die. Ruin finally falls. And Biofrost forced to flash away. 10 seconds till he's got his next friend up.
Wiggily up in 6. Turret, they have the Mountain Drake.
Biofrost slow. They're going for it all. Clutch aiming. They said they would never let it happen again. And they have done it. They will play DSM for the last spot at Worlds.
Ooh, what an ending, Pastry Time! To go into that regional qualifier final, they just chased and chased and chased down that top lane, 2/3 of the way across the map before finally Damonte found the dream ultimate onto the entire CLG team. And then right before the death timers were up, they ended CLG's season.
As much as I love a good counter ulti, nice job, Vulcan. That was a really good setup.
Yeah.
To make sure that happened, and it did feel like without the Rumble, Clutch couldn't make as much happen with the Qiyana. And we're kind of looking at Damonte saying this pick does not look like it used to, but
Yeah.
proves us wrong at the best possible point.
I mean, the game was seemingly turned. There had been an Elder Drake for CLG. They had the scaling advantage with the Gangplank. They had Baron, right? They had an inhibitor. They were on the road to the second consecutive reverse sweep. History is undefeated in a lot of these games, but in this particular moment, Clutch is able to reverse it, and they look so relieved that they didn't have to go to a game 5. Being able to take that final shot, yet another TP flank, and to have it work, so important as this now sets them up for a Worlds qualification bout against TSM.
You're very polite, Chat. You said seemingly turned. That game looked over. We
Yeah.
were all ready to give the win there to CLG and play another game.
Yeah, the goal was pretty close, but we both said we think we're going to game 5. I think everyone in the building thought we were going to a game 5. Clutch probably even thought, hey, unless we do something pretty big, it's probably going to game 5. But then they did something miraculous, and they're able to win the series.
Something pretty big came up, and Clutch reversed the reverse sweep and take it over CLG 3-1. But scoreline does not reflect how tense that last game was.
Yeah, I think it does. The scoreline, 20 kills to 17.
Oh, the series score. Yeah, the actual,
75 to,
the scoreboard's a mess.
The 3-1 of the series, right? It felt like it was that one team fight away from CLG reverse sweeping again, and Clutch just getting memed forever. But no, now they still have a chance to go to Worlds, and it's CLG who, you saw the disappointing faces there. They were very confident. To go into that game 5 after winning 1.5 games after being down 0-2.
Like you said, I mean, the gauntlet is brutal. Your season ends if you don't do anything other than win in a single Elim best-of-5 tournament. But I kind of like that Clutch, again, going from the team that couldn't beat anyone unless they were below them, to almost reversing the script completely, where they will take a pretty large revenge tour, it feels like, through almost everyone they have played. Now just TSM left.
Yeah, and they have beaten TSM 4 weeks ago at the quarterfinals. They won in fairly convincing fashion. They're going to be pretty confident. I mean, they said they were actually happy that they ended up losing to Counterlogic Gaming in the 3rd place match, and we got to see why here, right? They were actually able to stop the reverse sweep, and now they're 1 series away from Worlds.
Well, to hear about how they got their revenge, let's throw it down to hear from the Clutch solo laners.
Thanks, guys. Huni, Damonte, congratulations on that win. Now, the first thing I have to ask you is run me through that final play, because you were just running across the map trying to catch out CLG.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty wild. Like, I think it was like almost a full map that we chased him, and Vulcan ended up getting an insane engage, and, maybe I looked cool pressing R flash, but that was all Vulcan.
Oh, Vulcan, well, Huni, then let's ask you. A lot of Clutch fans were definitely worried after seeing Game 3, and they were worried that the potential reverse sweep was going to happen. So were you?
Yeah, definitely that also hurt it. The 4th match at the Detroit, pretty sure the reverse sweep is like everyone was like really hurt it, and that's why after the practice was actually not insanely good. It could have been better, but actually we just try all the best thing we can do, and we actually experienced it. It could be reverse swap. We nearly talked about before it could happen again. So we should just learn from what happened before and make sure we just don't happen ever again. And this is I think we proved that we actually improvement.
Well, how do you mentally prepare for that? How do you say, okay, here comes we're up 2-0. How do we not get reverse swept?
After 2, actually, we were talking about the same thing. 2-0 is not gonna make us 3-0. And as soon as it happened 2-1, is anyone we were asking just each other, is anyone tilted? Is anyone good? Just make sure, just double check to confirm that everyone has the same attitude that we're gonna just smash this guy again, with a 3-0, a 3-1.
Yeah, actually, I would say our coach Artemis, he told us after the CLG game and after Game 3 today, he said getting reverse swept only happens one time in your career. It's something you got to learn from when it happens, and that's what we did.
So then with all of that being said, how does it feel to be standing up here, the victor over CLG?
Well, it definitely feels good to get our revenge. I think we're definitely the better team, and we showed it today. Now we're just coming in tomorrow, and we're gonna play against TSM again. We already beat them once, and they're gonna want. True. They're gonna want their revenge now. So it's kind of the opposite. So definitely we're ready, and TSM might pull off something that we don't expect.
So I definitely want to talk about TSM, but first I want to praise you guys for your series, starting with you, Huni, because in Game 2 you had that phenomenal Irelia where you were just commanding pressure all over the game and almost forcing them to send all 5 after you. So what's it like being in that kind of a position?
It's kind of sucks, honestly. My team diff? Oh, no, just kidding. It was definitely just a top diff that I draw the pressures, and the team were doing actually was good things, and it was feel pretty good. They were trying to kill me 5 people putting, and then I burned 45 seconds to do it, and then we nearly got more than 4 turret. That happens a lot. Because they know they need to kill the Huni to win, but I mean I got proof. Even though you guys kill it, it's not gonna happen, dude.
Well, you have 2 Hunis. You have Huni and then Huni number 2. So does the same go for you? We saw you break out your Lux in Game 1. So I wanted to find out, is this Clutch Gaming at full force, or do you guys still have a couple tricks hidden up your sleeve?
I mean, definitely we've showed over the last 2 days that we're not just Rumble Qiyana, and I mean, we did win a game on Qiyana today, but Yeah, I mean, we have just infinite champion pool. All 5 players can play every champion in the game, and we're all willing to sacrifice for each other, so who knows what we're going to play next.
All right, well then let's talk your next opponent, TSM, tomorrow. CLG came into this saying that Clutch Gaming is going to be the toughest opponent of the gauntlet. So do you share that same sentiment, or do you see TSM as that final boss?
Well, TSM is definitely better than everyone thinks, I would say. I think they have players like Bjergsen, players like Sven. These are huge veterans, and they're not going to spend this month and a half that they had practicing just messing around, like going into Gauntlet just to lose. They're going to come and they're going to try to win. They're going to probably have a lot of new strategies, and now they've actually had time to play with Spica, so definitely not a match we're taking lightly. I don't know if they're better than CLG, but we'll find out tomorrow.
All right, and then the final thing that I want to ask you guys, I asked Vulcan and Cody Sun the same thing yesterday. What would qualifying for Worlds really mean to you? Huni, it's been 2 years since your last appearance there.
I mean, first of all, I've never missed the Worlds. 2015, 2017, 2019, so this is the year that I need to prove every single couple of years that I'm going Worlds.
And Damonte, for you?
Well, I'm a pretty new player still, so going to Worlds pretty surreal, so I really, really hope I'm going to make it, and I hope I don't cry if I do make it.
Well, I'll be right here to catch that action. But both of you, congratulations once again, and best of luck to you moving into tomorrow. That is it for us here. Back to you guys at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. Clutch has done it in 3-1 fashion. They make a statement here in the rematch against CLG to book themselves one more best-of-5 tomorrow in order to make it as the 3rd seed to the World Championship representing North America.
They were sweating. They were sweating.
Yeah, I was sweating. They were very cheery on stage there, but we were this close to going to a 5th game.
I thought that was going to go to Game 5 for sure. When I was seeing those team fights and I saw Stone Plate on Aatrox for the first time, I was just like...
I mean, this was a crazy back-and-forth game. A lot of action really early on was good to see. CLG actually getting the better of this early trade here in the mid lane.
And, you know, this continues the trend of Clutch Gaming finding wins with Qiyana and the Skarner again.
It was the only one. The other two, though, were unique. And, I mean, this was just a dangerous pick for Qiyana. They was really pressured all early game. They're trying to make this gank happen when he only has boots and a
no magic cancel.
Yeah, so you saw him lacking the damage to 100 to 0 out the Syndra through the combo, and that started having this kind of like mid spillover effect, but I mean, Clutch did what it did best. They forced these fights around the Rift Herald and in the jungles.
Right, really scrappy fights with kills being traded back and forth. This one was very close. We were even looking at it from a mechanics, decision-making point of view. If that Syndra ult actually didn't go on to Cody and on to the Rakan instead, maybe could have avoided some of the CC and allowed them to chase more kills out, but that's getting into the weeds of it all. Here, the Infernal Drake given up by Clutch. I think this is about the point in the game where things started to get a little shaky for a Clutch team that had gotten their Aatrox off to a phenomenal start.
I was calling it since CLG was doing Dragon. Clutch could burn this Dragon down, or the Baron down. One of the perks of having Tyson. Just melt objectives so much, and so they get a little bit late, and yeah, you clean up the party, but you still had it.
Oh no, this is where we thought we were going to Game 5.
I think we're seeing a lot of this from Huni on Aatrox, is where he's just going way too far forward, and like he has the Stone Plate, but why would you want a Stone Plate on Aatrox? You want to get more healing, you don't want to get more durability through just 50% reduced damage.
Gargo because he doesn't have Merc traits too, so he's just stunned in place. He's like, here I am.
It is just an overall baffling item choice because, as you alluded to there, the kind of inherent tankiness of Aatrox comes from his ability to heal by dealing damage.
Yeah.
And then by virtue of building a Stone Plate, you nerf your own damage for tankiness.
Okay.
Yeah,
But forfeit your own
I want to defend
innate tankiness.
I think you want to attack it. I want to defend.
Okay. All right, go.
All right, let's hear it. You don't have to prop the active, and you still get bonus resistances when
That is
people are
true.
near you.
If you don't use the active.
Build a Spirit Visage. Still a better choice, but I can see why he was
Build a
thinking
GA
about
and a
it.
Spirit Visage.
Nice defense.
Don't build the
Promise.
Randuin's Omen. The GP didn't have any crit yet when he built the Randuin's Omen. It was only...
Anyway,
They won the game.
Yeah, I know. But we only go in that hard on some of this stuff from Huni because it is still indicative of some small issues that plague a team that is trying to make their case for the World Championship. And so while yes, they made leaps and bounds in the last 2 weeks to come and 3-1 a team that had recently 3-2'd them, it is still important to look for those moments where they can shore up, small weaknesses within their game as a whole.
I mean, 10 moments that you improve that increase your odds by 1% is already a 10% increase in your chance. So if it's a matter of each build or each little path thing, all of a sudden you strung together a whole lot of ways for you to improve just off of small little things that you could do better.
It was said by the casters that following that play there, it felt like we were going to Game 5. The rest of us back here thought the same thing. Something, no short of a miracle would have to occur in order for Clutch to take it. And that's what they found up there in the top lane, chasing down Xayah, using everything they can.
And this play started 30 seconds earlier outside their inhib turret, TPing and trying to force a fight. And this is why people are excited about Clutch potentially going to Worlds. They are relentless. When they want to make a play, they're going to make a play happen. And they just kept forcing it until they finally broke CLG's back against that wall.
I really wanted CLG to win the series, but watching that play, I actually got some chills. That was freaking insane. And then I was like, oh, CLG's still in it, Rune's still there. And then I saw the play at the next and my heart broke a little bit because,
I mean, that's, and I'm sure you can attest to you've been in many high pressure moments. You've been in many base races where that kind of decision making, there's not a ton of thought to it. It's probably all instinct and gut at that point.
You kind of see as the series goes on that play kind of deteriorates. And like Clutch, they're playing best of fives back to back to back. Like, the games are going to get more messy as we're going, and that's what I'm kind of seeing with Clutch's play. They're getting a little looser, and especially with Huni, he's crushing his lane, right? He just needs to, like, short up a little bit in the mid game and not go for these random frontline plays, especially with the champions he's playing like Aatrox, and I think Clutch is looking like a great team. I really want them to be one of the teams that goes to Worlds, but they really need to, like, not go too overconfident. I think we're seeing a lot of that overconfidence.
Without a doubt. And I think they are aware of it, as has been showcased in a number of our interviews. But you mentioned Huni. Clutch have picked up another match. And today, the honor of Player of the Series is going to Huni up there in the top lane. He had his fair share of great plays and blunders, but the good outweighed the bad.
Yeah, the first two Aurelia games were amazing. He absolutely hard carried them in those 2 games, setting up huge plays. And then even in this game, the solo killing the turret, the fact that he was winning the GP matchup, which Darshan was talking about, is a very skill-heavy matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he is a player that I think inspires the rest of the squad. We know he inspires Damonte. Damonte really has a drive to kind of give back to Huni, like the championship form.
Look
that he was
at
at
forward
before.
percentage in Game 4. 54%. That's actually near unheard of in a forward percentage. It's very rare to get up that high, just because of the number of times you base in the earlier portions of the game. So stellar work by Huni. We'll have to give an honorable mention to Cody Sun, where Huni may have had more of the high highs. Cody Sun felt like kind of the consistent factor for the team throughout the 4 games. So another nod to him following a great series yesterday. But now we've arrived at the place where they've got one more to get through. And we've already talked about fatigue factor. We've talked about prep for the teams that have gotten an opportunity to look at Clutch. But the fact that Clutch hasn't had many opportunities to look at FlyQuest or TSM, 2 of their opponents.
And it's so fitting that we started playoffs with TSM against Clutch Gaming in a completely different mindset of what TSM was and what Clutch was, and we're going to end it the same way. However, I think that time has allowed Clutch Gaming to now be the favorites going into this.
I think undoubtedly they would be considered the favorites. I think, the real question, as with FlyQuest, is what has TSM really been working on in this last month? Where is it that they are going to find their wins? If we think back to spring split finals against TL, what jumps to my brain is players like Broken Blade, who actually stepped up phenomenally in that series with some, like carry performances on Vladimir's and things like that. A lot of that identity has seemed to slip away, and to be fair, the meta is very different. So my question then becomes, what should they have spent this last month doing? Where should they be looking for victories?
I think TSM, they need to hone in on specific champions strategies, like the Zillion strategy that they had before with the Kindred. Get 3 of those and just play only those. Be Clutch, then think about getting better when you're boot camping in Europe. They really should have just focused on how do you win 3 games against this last opponent, and then figure the rest out.
I think just even like some of the other things Clutch does, they limited their champion pool earlier on this season where they were just starting to play Rumble every game. I think as well as just like have one team play that you're really good at. Clutch just goes for the Rift Herald. Every game, you see it coming a mile away. It's like, oh, they took the Dragon and forced a recall. They're going top in a minute. And then it happens every single time. And that does a really good job of getting everyone on the same page, whether it's a bot lane 4-minute.
You're always going to dive.
Yeah, or when they go for their blue, we're always forcing a dragon fight. Like, there's a couple plays that you can pretty much 100% force. They will be contested and you need to execute on, but there are team plays in League of Legends that you can just do every single game. And I think something like that would be good to get TSM all on the same page with their young jungler.
Maybe not TSM specific, But Darshan, like you're given a month, and you've been in many postseasons, so you've had a week or two to workshop even between splits. How do you identify, or what do you think is the most crucial part, of a team's success when looking towards best-of-5 series, and something that can be done in a short period of time? Maybe the easiest thing to attack.
I think there's a lot of factors to it, and I think I was talking to Mark about this earlier. Clutch has literally played almost 18 games, something like that, in the past few weeks. You have 18 games of stats to look at, and I think TSM has a pretty huge coaching staff. You have so many things you can build to just beat Clutch in these 3 games, right? You don't necessarily need to be a great team, but you can be a good enough team to beat Clutch, especially with everything that you have. So I'm really hoping TSM saw all the drafts, saw how Clutch plays. 10-minute Rift Herald. They're going to look to swap every single time. How they're playing in these mid-game teamfights. What champions Huni looks great on, like Aurelia, and what champions he doesn't look so good on, like the Aatrox. I think they kind of have enough information to win this series and go to Worlds. And if TSM isn't looking strong in this series, then that's really telling that they just really don't deserve it because they had so much time to prepare for one opponent.
I think that's when they can use their academy team to actually try to emulate Clutch gaming and say, okay, you guys pick Rumble and Qiyana and play. You only play as a 10-minute Rift Herald, and then they start warming up. How do you then react to that? What do you need to prepare so that you can anticipate it? So a lot of players have to come into the equation to allow TSM to find a win against Clutch, but it's going to take a big effort because of how hurtful that loss against Clutch was in the first round.
2 teams remain, 1 slot remains at Worlds, and 1 best-of-5 separates each of these teams from snagging that 3rd and final spot. If you need to indulge in more League of Legends, though, the LEC kicked off their finals weekend in Athens, and you'll be getting a rebroadcast of that at the end of our show today. Thank you, Darshan, so much for joining us here today for these 4 very exciting games. Now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the conclusion of the regional qualifiers. Good night. Thank you, dude.
Welcome to what should be quite the best-of-5, kids. CLG and Clutch again, but this time there's a shot at Worlds on the line. Oh, no, no, battle, Biofrost! Dead to Cody Sun.
Engage. Don't on the flash. Slowly. Don't on the flash. We kill everyone here. Don't on the flash. They're ending so hard.
Biofrost in the backside, they pull back Wiggily, take him down. Stixxay will be left for dead. Cody dominating, and that's just the story for Clutch in this game. Clutch just take over and dominate for a Game 1 win. Ruin cannot stay. But he almost gets knocked back. Damonte grabs the first kill. Vulcan now going to chase the rest of them. Vulcan gets the first kill. Biofrost goes down as well, and CLG thought they'd set it up so well, but Clutch strike back.
We can go. I'm 10 seconds away. Go on. I can look at Aurelia. What is Aurelia?
He has flash.
No, he has.
No flash.
He has flash. Nice.
Huni, pretty good. The ulti finds it! Massive ult as Ruin gonna go down. Clutch gonna take over the fight.
I'm coming to. We can I can come. Play mid! Yeah. Kill everyone, Baron. Run to Baron.
Up there, here.
Look mid, I can all mid. No, Nestor's free.
Clutch, once again, will find themselves up 2-0 over CLG.
Lucian. Can we someone?
Yeah.
Lucian. Kill these guys. No flashes. Kill everyone. Go Baron after.
Onto Lira he goes, plenty of damage to the Xayah. Great ult there, PowerOfEvil. Gonna try and make the outplay. Shuts down Huni, chases Lira. PoE's feeling it.
Stun. Can we kill him? I got him.
Okay. I'm Zonus.
Qiyana. Go, Qiyana.
Huni finds it. Stixxay gonna burn the ulti. Now's the time to go in. Stixxay needs to be the target, but he's moving back towards the team.